Picture this. I'm standing at my kitchen window, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the backyard, and I catch my reflection in the glass. It's not the face I used to know. I'm Vanessa, 41 years old, living in a sleepy suburban pocket of Ohio where the days blur into one another like the faded lines on the road outside. My dark brown hair hangs in loose waves, with stubborn strands of gray sneaking through, no matter how much I try to ignore them. My hazel eyes look back at me, tired, carrying the weight of years I can't quite account for. My body's softer now, rounded in places I used to obsess over, a testament to choosing family dinners over gym sessions long ago. Life here is steady, predictable, like the tick of the old clock on the mantel. I've been married to Mark for 18 years. He's 43, a mechanic with a gruff edge, his salt and pepper hair always a little messy, his hands perpetually stained with motor oil. He's dependable, the kind of man who fixes things, cars, leaky faucets, you name it, but not us. Our evenings are quiet, filled with the clink of dishes and the murmur of the TV, but there's a silence beneath it all, a frustration we don't voice. The spark we once had feels like a distant memory, buried under routine and unspoken words. Then there's Jake, Mark's best friend, though the age gap makes you wonder how that friendship even started. Jake's 23, a college dropout with a restless energy, always hanging around lately. He's got this tousled blonde hair, a lean frame, and a boyish grin that hints it was a chilly autumn night in late October. The kind where the air bites just enough to remind you winter's creeping in. I could smell the earthy scent of fallen leaves drifting through the cracked window, mingling with the faint hum of crickets outside. From the kitchen, I glanced out to the driveway where dim yellow light spilled from the garage, illuminating Mark and Jake as they hunched over Mark's old Chevy. They'd been tinkering with that car for weeks, a project that seemed to keep them tethered to something beyond the mundane. Their muffled voices carried on the breeze, and I caught the glint of tools in their hands under the flickering bulb. Inside, I was stirring a pot of spaghetti sauce, the rich aroma of tomatoes and garlic filling the room. The garlic bread was toasting in the oven, a simple comfort for a night like this. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and peered out the window again, just in time to see Jake throw his head back in laughter at something Mark said. For a fleeting moment, everything felt right, normal even. A quiet contentment settled over me, a rare warmth in the routine of our days. The back door creaked open, and Jake stepped in, his flannel shirt sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing tanned forearms smudged with grease. He headed straight for the fridge, grabbing a soda, and turned to me with that easy grin of his. "Smells amazing, Vanessa. You're spoiling us," he said, tossing me a playful wink. I laughed it off, waving a hand dismissively, but I couldn't ignore the tiny flicker of warmth in my chest at his words. It was a feeling I hadn't noticed, and here I am, standing at the kitchen sink after dinner, the warm, soapy water enveloping my hands as I scrub at a stubborn pan. Jake's beside me, drying dishes, his presence a quiet comfort after Mark headed upstairs to crash for the night. The clink of plates and the soft slosh of water filled the space between us, and Jake's chatting away about a band he caught last weekend, some indie group I've never heard of. His voice is light, a little slurred from the extra beers he's had, and I can't help but notice the way his movements are just a touch clumsy. He nearly drops a plate, catching it at the last second with a sheepish chuckle. I laugh too, the sound escaping before I can stop it. But there's something else lingering in the air now, a tension I can't quite name, heavy and unspoken, pressing against the edges of this ordinary moment. I keep my eyes on the sink, focusing on the suds, but I feel him shift closer as he reaches for a pot I'm struggling with. His arm brushes mine, a fleeting contact that sends a spark through me. I should step back, create some distance, but I don't. My heart picks up, a steady thrum in my chest, and I'm telling myself it's nothing, just a friendly gesture, nothing more. Yet, the heat of him so close is impossible to ignore, and my mind is a tangle of thoughts I shouldn't be having. I'm married. Mark's just upstairs. This is wrong. But there's a part of me, buried deep, that's been starved for something, anything, to break the monotony of feeling unseen for so long. Then, it happens. Jake sets the dish down with a soft clatter, and before I can process it, his hands are on my waist, fingers pressing gently but firmly through the thin fabric of my sweater. I freeze, my breath hitching in my throat, as the world narrows to the sensation of his touch. He leans in, and I feel the warmth of his breath before his lips graze the side of my neck, a slow, intentional press that sends a shiver racing down my spine. My heart is pounding so hard I swear it's echoing through the quiet kitchen as I pull back just a fraction from Jake, my hands trembling at my sides. My voice comes out shaky, barely above a whisper, as I manage to say, "Jake, we can't do this." But even I can hear the lack of conviction in my words, like they're more of a question than a statement. His blue eyes lock onto mine, intense and searching, burning with something I've tried so hard to ignore. He steps closer, his voice low and raw as he murmurs, "I've wanted this for so long, Vanessa. Haven't you felt it too?" I'm floored, my mind spinning like a top, racing back to every moment I brushed off his playful comments, his lingering looks, telling myself it was nothing. But now, standing here with him, I can't deny the truth staring me in the face. My face feels hot, flushed with a mix of panic and something else I don't want to name. My body betrays me, leaning toward him ever so slightly, even as my better judgment screams to step away. My hands shake as I grip the edge of the counter for support, trying to ground myself in reality. I dart a quick glance toward the staircase, half expecting to hear Mark's heavy footsteps descending, but there's nothing, just the faint, relentless tick of the kitchen clock, counting down to a decision I'm not ready to make. Jake's hands are still on my waist, firm yet gentle, and I can't ignore the magnetic pull between us, a force that's both terrifying and thrilling in equal measure. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing one wrong move could send me tumbling over. I try to rationalize it, my thoughts a chaotic mess. Mark and I haven't been close in years, not in the way that matters. The distance between us has grown so wide it feels like an ocean, and I'm drowning in the loneliness of it. Don't I deserve to feel something, anything after so long of feeling invisible? But the guilt gnaws at me, sharp and unrelenting, a reminder of the vows I made, the I'm still standing there in the kitchen, the weight of Jake's words hanging heavy between us, my heart a wild drum in my chest. I know I should push him away, end this before it spirals further, but my feet won't move. Instead, I find myself stepping back, not away, but toward the living room, as if some unseen force is pulling me. Jake follows, his gaze never leaving mine, and we end up on the couch, the dim glow of a single lamp casting soft shadows across the room. The space between us shrinks, inch by inch, until I can feel the heat radiating from him. Then, his hand reaches for mine, his thumb tracing slow, deliberate circles on my skin, sending a jolt through me that I can't ignore. A storm of emotions crashes over me, guilt so sharp it cuts, longing that aches in my bones, fear of what this means, and a raw, desperate need I haven't felt in years. I've been so lonely. I admit it to myself now, staring into the void Mark's indifference carved out over time. His silence, his distance, left me hollow, and Jake's attention, his warmth, fills that emptiness in a way I can't fight. It's wrong. I know it. But it's like I'm starving for something real, something to make me feel alive again, and then it happens. I'm not sure if I lean in first or if he does, but suddenly our lips meet, and it's a deep, hungry collision that wipes every rational thought from my mind. I taste the faint bitterness of beer on his lips, feel the rough scratch of his stubble against my skin, and my hands, as if acting on their own, find his shoulders, gripping tight. In that moment, I'm unfaithful to Mark, and I know it as it's happening, the weight of my betrayal pressing down even as I lose myself in the heat of it. The kiss deepens, turning into something more, something urgent. We're tangled together on the couch, my heart pounding so loud I'm sure it could wake the whole house. Every touch feels stolen, forbidden, and the constant fear of, as the heat of that moment on the couch faded, reality crashed back in like a cold wave. Jake pulled away, his breath uneven, eyes searching mine for something I couldn't give. He muttered a quiet apology, promising to keep what happened just between us before slipping out the back door into the chilly night. I stayed there, alone on the couch, my body still buzzing with the aftermath, staring up at the ceiling as if it held answers I desperately needed. Sleep was impossible. My mind replayed every second, every touch, every whispered word, looping endlessly with a mix of regret and something I hated to admit. Yearning. Eventually, I forced myself to move, creeping upstairs with heavy limbs, each step feeling like a betrayal all over again. I slid into bed beside Mark, his soft snores filling the room, a stark reminder of the life I'd just jeopardized. He was oblivious, lost in dreams, while I lay there wide awake, my heart a tangled mess of guilt and confusion. The warmth of his body next to mine felt like a lie, a weight I couldn't shake. I turned away, staring into the darkness, wondering how I'd face him in the morning. The days that followed were a slow torture. Guilt consumed me, gnawing at my insides every time Mark looked at me with those trusting eyes. I couldn't meet his gaze, couldn't bear the casual way he'd laugh or brush his hand against mine over breakfast. Each gesture, once so mundane, now felt like a blade twisting deeper. I'd mumble excuses, busying myself with chores, anything to avoid the weight of his presence. Jake, too, became a ghost I dodged at every turn. His texts lit up my phone, short, tentative messages I couldn't bring myself to answer. I told myself it was a one-time lapse, a mistake I'd buried deep. But late at night, when the house was still, my mind wandered back to that forbidden rush, torn between shame and a longing I couldn't extinguish. I spent hours wrestling with my thoughts, questioning everything about my marriage. Should I confess to Mark, lay bare the ugly truth and risk shattering us completely? Or should? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.